Good evening, everybody. My name is Ken Dauer. I'm a student in the Cloud Computing course currently offered through Harvard Extension School. And this is my final project for the course, which is just a brief overview of the Amazon Web Services Elastic Transcoder Service. So what is the Elastic Transcoder Service? Very simply, it's a way to use cloud computing to very quickly, cheaply, and easily transcode video files from one video format size to another. And again, it's cheap, less than 2 cents per minute for standard definition files on the East Coast. It's priced differently by region, but East Coast is the cheapest, typically. And for high definition files, it's about 3 cents per minute. So dirt cheap to do it, because transcoding is a very computationally expensive job. If you try to do it on your home machine sometime, you'll see that it takes a long time and it eats up a lot of system resources. So this is a very good deal financially if you have to do this for commercial purposes. It's very quick. In my example, a 1 gigabyte file was transcoded in less than 4 minutes, and it's very easy. It's only a few mouse clicks to use the console to do it, or you can use the PHP SDK. There's also a Java SDK available, but PHP is easier. To very, very quickly write programs that will transcode large amounts of video files automatically with no intervention from you. All right, so here's a use case I came up with this. Why would you use this? A good client for this would be NASA. They generate a very high amount of high-quality public domain video every year. There's a few examples in the bottom right corner. As you can see, very good quality video. 780p, 1080i, 1080p, very typical resolution on these videos, but very large formats and not offered in a lot of very friendly formats or a lot of variety formats. So in the example I'm going to be using, I'm going to transcode some of these videos into an iPhone-friendly, a little bit smaller MP4 format. They'll cut the video file size by 90%, still look great, and it would save significant bandwidth for mobile users or just for NASA if they want to get these videos out more to the public. All right, so doing this using the console is super easy. The Elastic Transcoder uses Amazon buckets for storage. So simply create 2 buckets. One for your input, that's where you store the videos that you want transcoded, and one for your output. That's where the finished product is going to go. So upload the videos. As you see for the example, I uploaded 6 videos, the largest 1 gigabyte. And then what I like to do is create an SNS topic. This will allow you to receive notifications as your jobs are submitted, as they're progressing, if there's any errors with them, and then finally when they're completed. Very useful. So once you've created the buckets and optionally create an SNS topic, simply go to the Amazon Web Services Elastic Transcoder main page and click Create New Pipeline. Pipelines are basically some very simple default settings for input and output buckets as well as notifications. And if you want a separate bucket for thumbnails, you can create that as well. But I did not for this. Makes things a lot easier once you actually start creating jobs. So you have to create a pipeline first, and then from there you create your first job. Again, very simple, create a new job, click Create a New Job, and select your pipeline that you want to use. For this, I'm using the NASA videos pipeline I created earlier. Your input key is the file you want to create. In this case, it's a 1 gigabyte .mov file. And then your output key is just the new name the file is going to have when you're done. System presets, there's about 20 or so presets, and it covers about anything you want to imagine as far as output formats. But if you want to create custom formats, you absolutely can. You can also create thumbnails and small clips of the videos as well. So once you submit your job, you wait a minute or two. In this case of a 1 gigabyte file, it took about 4 minutes when I did it. And when it's done, it'll send you a nicely formatted JSON email saying, hey, it's done, and here's the information on the job that I did. You can then go to your input bucket, or your output bucket, sorry, and you can actually see, hey, there's the video files as long as the thumbnails that were generated. You may need to change the bucket permissions or the file permissions to see them on the web, but once you do, you can very easily see on the web or access it in your web browser or through a website that you create, which we'll be doing later as kind of an example. All right, so that was very easy to create a single job. However, if you want to create multiple jobs, the best and easiest way to do it is to use the PHP SDK. As I mentioned before, there are SDK integration with Java as well. However, because it's a new service and because I think a lot of people are using the console, there's not a lot of good documentation or examples for using an SDK to submit jobs. So I found the PHP SDK to be the most well documented and the easiest to use. So what I did is I used Composer, which is a PHP manager, to configure this. I simply created a composer.json file saying, hey, include the Amazon Web Services SDK with any files that need it. And then I installed Composer, and I installed the dependencies for my project, which is that project down there, composer.far. Once I did that, you instantiate, and I didn't show this in my code example because it has my security credentials, but it's a 3 lines to instantiate a client for the Elastic Transcoder, and you can see it's very easy to create a pipeline. It's very self-explanatory. You simply specify the pipeline, the input and output buckets, and then use the role, which you can get from the console for your pipeline. So very simple and very easy. And as you see, I can also specify where I'm going to get my notifications as well using the ARN, Amazon Resource Number. All right. To make a job even simpler, 7 lines of code. Specify what pipeline you want to use. And as for the input key, specify the file you want transcoded, and then specify an output key, the name of the file you want to change to, and the preset ID you want to use. And you can find a list of the different preset IDs. This is the one for the iPhone friendly MP4 format on the Amazon Web Services website. Now, here's where the real power comes in. This is about 20 lines of code, I believe, and this allows us to create multiple jobs at once. And this example I use, it'll basically take every single file that's in the input bucket, run it through transcoder, and place it in the output bucket. So you can do hundreds of files at once with no intervention from you whatsoever once you run this program. Again, it's an incredibly simple program to write. I wrote this just basically modifying the documentation for the S3 portion of the SDK and for the Elastic Transcoder portion, some of their methods that they use. But it took very little time to write this, and it takes very little time to implement it. So very easy, but very powerful. So once we run this, it'll dump all the videos into that output bucket I showed you earlier. And then the nice thing about, because they're hosted on Amazon S3 automatically, it's very trivial to write a simple website. I have the example of what I use on the left to host these videos on your own website. And then you can view them straight from a static website on your S3 bucket. And that's why I actually have right here is these are all the videos I just transcoded. And you can see they all play just fine. Maybe not so much because I'm screen recording right now. But very simple, very easy to use, very powerful. Highly recommended for your transcoding needs. That concludes my presentation, but I just wanted to make a final note. I've really enjoyed this class. I learned a lot. It was kind of fun doing a little bit something different every week with the homework assignments. But I want to say I really appreciate all my fellow students and their help with the homework. I had some frustrations here and there, and you guys really made it a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable. So thank you for all the help on the discussion boards. Have a good night.